Of the end of time, Jesus said that it would be as in the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage. This was so until a certain significant and specific point, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Then a line was drawn between those who would be delivered to the world to come and those who would perish forever. In the flood, God destroyed the world, saving only 8 souls and some of every kind of animal. In that ark was the genetic pool from which our world's diversity came. 7 of every kind of clean animal and 2 of every unclean were on the ark, as well as seeds of all kinds of plants for food. The ark was the genetic bank for the world that exists today. Outside the ark were those who had been marrying and giving in marriage, who had been busy mixing and stirring the gene pool. Among them were the Nephilim, known as an amalgamation of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Their DNA could be compared to a mixture of genes from sources both made by God from the sons of God and made by men from the daughters of men. Also outside the ark were the dinosaurs and other creatures whose DNA had been corrupted by the devising of men, commensurate with the wickedness of that generation. God's patience has a limit. When mankind crosses a certain line that it cannot and should not cross, God's patience ends. The presumption of man to be his own God, mixing his genes to improve upon the creation that God pronounced very good, threatens to extinguish the race of those who fear God alone. It was once so with the antediluvian world in the days of Noah, and it serves as a foreshadowing for the end of the world when Christ shall come.
That as the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Today the world is being inoculated with DNA made in a laboratory created by humans, with the ostensible goal of stopping COVID-19. Are humans wiser than God who created them? Do humans think they can improve upon the creation of God? Genetic engineering is once again corrupting creation in proportion to the wickedness of this generation. The rejection of marriage between man and woman in favor of LGBT tolerance is the same level of blasphemy. To assert that what God made in His image was not good enough and still needs improvement.
So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him. Male and female created He them. And God saw everything that He had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day.
So now, that which was at the beginning in Noah's days is repeating in these last days. But today there hasn't been a literal ark built, but something equivalent in the spiritual sense. A place where people can gather who want to keep the temple of their body holy for God by refusing the DNA-containing vaccines of the world. If you want to forgo the vaccine and be faithful to God, visit 144,000remnant.org and get to know the people who are in the refuge of the 144,000, which is the Noah's Ark of today. Like in the days of Noah, everyone who entered the ark possessed a certain specific knowledge of the times and what was coming. Refusing Satan's DNA is not enough for salvation. One's own DNA, degraded under the stress of 6 millennia of sin, must also be healed with the DNA of Jesus Christ. Read Satan's DNA Decoded at whitecloudfarm.org for more information. As God's people were sealed into the ark during Noah's time, so too in the last days. Through a knowledge of how and when God's long-suffering ends and His judgments fall, and ultimately how long it will be until His return. Read the 7 Angels of Vengeance for more information. Those who seek the truth with all their hearts will be able to find the mighty hand of God still stretched out to save. But it is high time to flee out of Babylon. including out of all the church denominations, because of their compromise with the world in one way or another. To maintain tax exemption status, they all must bow to the civil authorities. Such tax exemption status comes with strings attached. For example, being forbidden to speak against some express sins in the name of tolerance and acceptance, and everyone that dares stand for the Bible truth is said to be of hate speech. That is why they embrace LGBT tolerance and women as elders or pastors, things that the Bible plainly forbids. And that is also why they promote the vaccine, even though it defiles the body, which every Christian knows is the temple of the living God. Watch our other videos such as the threefold mark of the beast, the vaccine plague, what AstraZeneca means, and others. But all those, on the other hand, who mock and scoff like in the days of Noah, despise their own salvation, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Where will you go? Are you going to be among the scoffers and mockers who see nothing wrong in tinkering with their DNA and voiding the manufacturer's warranty of their body, thus forfeiting all offers to be repaired by their maker and return to paradise? Or are you going to number among those whom God is healing and gathering in His genetic bank to be preserved for the world to come?